Hello, thank you for joining me. Today, we're going to be talking about quartz crystal, all the different kinds of quartz. And I thought I would set the mood by lighting some super hit incense. So there's many different kinds of quartz crystal, and a lot of things you might not even realize are quartz. So first of all, I'm going to talk about this, which is my Super 7 crystal, and the 7 kinds of crystal. I know I've kind of touched on it before, but I didn't ever list out the different kinds. So the different kinds of crystal in the Super 7 excuse me, contains amethyst. There's like a purplish band in here. Clear quartz, you can kind of see the clear quartz. Smoky quartz, you can see there. Cacoxenite. So cacoxenite is it's a little bit like rutilated quartz. And rutilated quartz is anything that has these little spiky fibrous inclusions in it. And you can kind of see those like right there. Goethite, which is an iron containing mineral. And then lepidocrosite, which I believe to be this material here on the surface, kind of on the butt end. It's a rust colored mineral. It's formed from rust. And so there's a lot of iron ore minerals in Super 7. And then I wanted to talk about the microcrystalline quartzes. So microcrystalline quartzes are like jaspers, agates, and those both I think fall into the category of chalcedony. And then another stone which is quartz, but which you might not think of, is tiger's eye. It's actually a quartz as well. And the example of tiger's eye that I have, and I opted not to wear these today because I wanted to be able to hold them up to the camera so you could see them. But these are plugs that I wear in my ears, and that is the tiger's eye stone that I have in my collection. I want to get one of those really nice big raw chunks of tiger's eye. Those look really cool. But basically with tiger's eye, you can see it looks very like banded and shiny. And the reason that it looks that way is, oh, I took note. There's a mineral called chrysotolite, which is like a bluish color. And quartz actually infiltrates that stone. Chrysotolite is a really fibrous, they call it asbestos form, meaning it's really fibrous. And quartz infiltrates. And so because the quartz is then forming these very long, thin fibers, it creates this lustrous appearance like that. It's like fiber optic cable, but naturally formed. So then some of the other chalcedonies that we have green aventurine, and these are plugs also. My gauges are 00 here and then 2 here. And green aventurine, so the word aventurine comes from Italian for by chance. And the reason that it's called that, so aventurine has all of these little tiny quartz crystals inside with these different mineral inclusions that give it its sparkly color. So in green aventurine, that's a stone called fuchsite, or a mineral called fuchsite. And then the Italian word comes actually from goldstone, which, while it's technically an aventurine, but it's man-made. And the way that glassmakers in Italy stumbled upon creating this stone was by accident. So they called it aventurine. So then another type of this microcrystalline quartz is jasper. And I don't know how well the colors of this one will show up, but this one has kind of neat little it's got like very neat banding effect on it. But I don't know if that one will show up. I also have these heart-shaped plugs. You can see the banding like really well on these. There. How it goes all the way through. And this one is also a jasper. And then, excuse me, I have a piece of ocean jasper, but it's so small, I was like, there's no point in trying to show that on camera. And I also have this, which is jasper, but there's also, see, this one is a black and red banded, but there's also obsidian that is black and red banded. And the only way that you can really tell the difference is that obsidian is glass and jasper is microcrystalline quartz. So you have to look at the cleavage of the stone and see if it looks more like the way that glass would shatter, or if it is more like how jasper is able to be faceted like this. And then we have agate. So this is a piece of dendritic agate. And basically how it is formed is the agate stone is infiltrated by inclusions of iron or manganese. Like during the weathering process, iron and manganese filter down through the groundwater or rainwater during the weathering process, and they infiltrate the agate stone in these branching shapes, and they crystallize there. And then we have carnelian. Carnelian is another type of agate. So there's red agate, and then there's also carnelian. And carnelian is more of a solid red. It does still have some banding, you can see, because agates are created through deposition of silica over time. Carnelian is a chalcedony that is, it gets this color from iron oxide impurities. and some red agate can be dyed to more closely match carnelian, or it can be heated, and the heating can then intensify the iron oxide color, make it more pronounced. And I like this one because it's got this huge cavern in it, which I think is kind of neat. Alright, so I think that covers all of the chalcedony microcrystalline quartzes. And I've already talked about my Super 7. I want to talk about this quartz stalactite. So you can have not only a clear quartz stalactite, but they have amethyst stalactites too. And basically, the way that the stalactite forms, you can see in the middle that calcite deposition matrix. So calcite, as it drips, it deposits and can create like those straws that you see in caves. And then sometimes what will happen is that silica can aggregate on the outside of that calcite straw shape and form a stalactite. Some of the amethyst ones I saw were really cool. They had also like some green in here and then the purple around the outside. So this is my example of clear quartz. And then I have my pendulum. I have two pendulums. This one has tourmalated, black tourmaline inclusions. And it's more like a milky quartz. I like this one a lot. This one's very truthful. And then I have a citrine pendulum. And citrine and smoky quartz both have aluminum impurities, which give them their colors. And actually, some citrine you can heat, superheat smoky quartz, and it will become citrine. I like this pendulum also, but I feel like it's not as truthful as the other pendulum. This one's kind of more like, wants to tell me what I want to hear instead of telling me what I really want to hear, which is the truth. So this is my big chunk of smoky quartz, and I actually went to a metaphysical shop in Was this in New Mexico or in Colorado? I was on tour with my friend when I bought some of these crystals. And I went to this metaphysical store and they had like a big basket of them sitting on the table. So I kind of took all of the smoky quartz out just very like carefully. And I put them out on the table and I kind of held them all and I put my hands on each one and kind of just felt like which one I liked the best. And there was this one and another one like at the end, and this one was my final choice. Some of them were just kind of like, yeah, this one's not really it. But there were a few of them that I was like, yeah, this one could come home with me today. They had a lot of selenite there, and I actually didn't buy any selenite there because I already have quite a bit. But they had like those selenite pencils. But I already did a video on selenite. But like I mentioned just now, smoky quartz gets its color from aluminum inclusions. And then I have some rose quartz. Rose quartz is so pretty. One thing that I wanted to mention too is that some of these clear colored quartzes can fade in sunlight. So if you're doing any kind of like purifications, sitting them on your windowsill, make sure that you don't leave them in the sunlight because they might bleach. Rose quartz has titanium, iron, and manganese inclusions, and that's what gives it this pale pink color. And then this one is cut really well, and it sounds awesome when you tap on it. And I actually got this piece of quartz from my high school boyfriend. It was like one of the first crystals I ever got. And it's amethyst. And I've had it for like ever. And amethyst is purple because of iron impurities, but it's irradiated. It's an irradiated stone, and that can occur naturally. So there is a lot of amethyst in the world, and it's kind of considered not as much of a precious stone as it used to be. I remember when I was like much younger, amethyst was more like a prized gemstone, and then I guess as people discovered that it wasn't as rare as it seemed, it's not as prized as other gemstones, but it's still so beautiful and a very good gemstone to work with. And let's see. I think that's pretty much all of the gemstones that I brought for the video. But I will do kind of a recap. So we have your plain, quote unquote, clear quartz. rose quartz. Rose quartz is good for love. We do have citrine. We have rutilated quartzes like this tourmaline quartz. And black tourmaline is really good for banishing negative energies and getting rid of other people's energies that are negative around you. We have amethyst and smoky quartz. And we have the Super 7 crystal. We have jaspers. This black and red banded jasper. You probably see a lot of jasper that looks like this one. It's kind of just a red color all over red jasper. And this one is a red jasper that's been faceted. And my cute little jasper plugs. I bought these on eBay not too long ago. They weren't very expensive. I like them a lot. And the carnelian agate. And then tiger's eye. And finally, aventurine. Which is a really beautiful stone. I've thought about getting more of it. And also, just for reference, the goldstone. And goldstone actually comes in a few different color varieties, but again, it's a man-made stone, so they can kind of make whatever color they want. And then there is another type of quartz that I didn't mention today because I don't actually possess any of it, and that is prasiolite. And I also don't know very much about that yet, but that's another quartz stone to keep in mind. And so one thing I did want to mention, the difference between jasper and agate. So jasper is created when volcanic ash is cemented into solid material, as silica precipitates out, as that igneous rock is like super hot, and all the silica kind of like separates out, and so that's what forms jasper. But then agate is when those layers of silica are kind of deposited on top of each other over time. And jasper and agate and carnelian, and I think also aventurine, are all varieties of chalcedony, which is like your microcrystalline quartz varieties. So that's everything about quartz for today. There are lots of metaphysical properties, but I like to not get so much into that when it comes down to like the different varieties of quartz, except as I've experienced it myself. I think you should develop your own relationships with the crystals that you possess and are kind of like borrowing from the earth. But thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really glad to see all of you again. And I hope to see you soon.